Vlad let go of his shirt and leaned in close. He glanced over his shoulder and back at Henry. "And Mr. Craig, too!" Regaining his composure a bit, Henry said, "But Vlad, we don't even know for sure if Mr. Craig is dead or not. That's crazy." On the walk home, Vlad spilled almost all of it, outlining in detail his visit to Mr. Craig's house, seeing Otis's top hat there, and the mysterious symbol that he'd seen in 4 other places, and the similar mark on the inner wrist of Mr. Otis. He told Henry about his dad's mention of a tattoo that he'd planned to remove with sunlight, and of the conversation he'd overheard between Otis and a man dressed entirely in black, who went by the name Diablo. Henry shook his head, but didn't discount Vlad's theories. "So what is he, some kind of gang member, a mob assassin?" Vlad shook his head and brushed the wisp of bangs from his eyes. "He's a vampire." Henry laughed, but stopped when he looked at Vlad. "You can't be serious." "I'm dead serious." Vlad slowed his steps as they neared his house. He glanced at the house and wondered whether Nellie was home yet. "I think he's going to try to hurt me. In Dad's journal, he said, 'Vlad, that's nuts. I mean, I know you miss your parents and Mr. Craig, but accusing your teacher of being a vampire? That sucks, dude.'" Henry smirked, pleased at the new pun. All traces of a smile faded when Vlad failed to laugh. "Even if he is a vampire, and I'm not saying for sure he's not, if he were going to hurt you, wouldn't he have done it by now?" "Not if he thinks he needs me to locate my dad." "But your dad is—" "I know, Henry. I was the one who found them." Vlad was fuming. He tightened his grip on his backpack strap and turned toward his house. "Dead. My parents are dead. Why do people keep reminding me?" Henry opened his mouth to answer, but Vlad quickened his pace and slammed the front door of his house behind him. Vlad threw the journal across the room, sending the lamp on the end table crashing to the floor. Then he bolted back outside. "Henry!" Henry just looked at him. His eyes were full of hurt. So were Vlad's. "You believe me, don't you?" Henry examined the hole in Vlad's shoe before meeting his eyes. "I believe you're scared, and there has to be some reason for it, so... Sure, why not vampires?" "In my dad's journal, he talks about a whole world of vampires, entire cities populated by them. They couldn't all have vanished, could they?" Vlad must have looked terrified because Henry lowered his voice and gave him a reassuring nod. "It's not impossible to believe other vampires are out there. And they might be horrible people. You could be right. But don't go freaking out over something we can't prove yet. We'll find out what's going on, Vlad. Just be careful." With another nod, Henry walked off. Vlad looked up at his house and let out a groan. He'd completely forgotten that this was the night Mr. Otis was coming over for dinner. He let his backpack slip from his shoulder and lugged it into the house. After tossing his backpack and jacket into his bedroom, Vlad changed his shirt and headed back downstairs. He heated a bag of blood in the microwave and bit into it, then sucked the sweet, warm juices into his mouth and rolled them around on his tongue before swallowing. Vlad had once seen a book at the mall called Blood-Sucking Fiends. He didn't remember the author or even what the book was about, apart from its vampire theme, but he found himself mulling over that description of his species and wondered whether people would refer to him as a fiend if they ever found out about him. The thought bothered him at first, but after a while he became drawn to the term. He already sucked blood. He might as well have a cool title like Fiend to go with it. Vlad rounded the stairs just as Nellie was shutting the front door with her heel. Her arms were full of grocery bags. "What happened to the lamp?" "A Menti knocked it over." The pudgy black cat meowed her protest. Nellie shook her head at Vlad's shirt. "You're not wearing that." Vlad looked down at his black t-shirt and the crimson letters that dripped down his chest, mimicking blood. It read, "Vampires suck. Henry's gift to him last Christmas." Vlad sucked some blood off his thumb. "What? I like this shirt." Nellie gave him that "you've got to be kidding me if you think I'm giving in on this one" look and carried the bags into the kitchen. Vlad followed her. "What's for dinner?" She was pulling fresh hamburger out of one bag, and Vlad stared at the red juices that clung to the plastic wrap around the meat. "Meatloaf. Will you be okay faking through a meal? I know you don't like swallowing cooked meat, but—" "No big deal, Aunt Nellie. You act like I haven't been pretending to be normal my entire life." He raised the corner of his mouth in a half-smile, pulled the eggs and rice from a bag, and set them on the counter. Nellie gave him a matter-of-fact nod. "Pretending to be human? You are normal, Vladimir, a perfectly normal, healthy teenage vampire. Some people are vegetarians. You drink blood. It's not weird or bizarre or abnormal in the least. You're just different from the rest of this town." She set the hamburger next to the eggs and sighed. "I do worry how they'd react if they learned about you. People fear what they can't understand, and harm what they fear." Nellie was right, of course, and Vlad would go on pretending to be something he was not until the world was safe for him to stop, which would be never, as Vlad saw it. He watched Nellie putting the groceries away and wondered why she'd asked Mr. Otis over for dinner. He was about to ask when the curious idea entered his mind to simply steal his way into her thoughts and see. He concentrated hard and pushed with his mind. Nellie pressed her palm against her forehead. "Oh, I have the worst headache." Vlad frowned and pushed again with his mind, but nothing happened. Nellie reached for some ibuprofen on the counter and popped 2 of them into her mouth, then gave Vlad a curious glance. "Are you nervous about having your teacher over?" "Substitute teacher." Vlad ran a finger along the side of the hamburger packet and licked it. He could feel the pressure of his fangs elongating and was tempted to let them remain in plain view during Mr. Otis's visit. Maybe a close encounter with another blood-sucking fiend would shake any information Mr. Otis had out of him. "They still haven't found Mr. Craig." Nellie shook her head. "I wonder if they ever will. That poor man." Vlad reached out and covered Nellie's hand with his own. "Aunt Nellie, I kinda need to talk to you about Mr. Otis." He told her everything about the book, Otis's hat, Thomas's journal, Otis's tattoo. When he finished, she patted him on the shoulder. "You've been under a ridiculous amount of stress, Vladimir. I'm not surprised you're seeing vampires everywhere. Why, the other day I thought I saw—" "Not everywhere, just in my English class." He pulled out the slip of paper he had drawn from Mr. Otis's hat weeks before, the one that had read werewolf and now read vampire. Nellie read Mr. Otis's horrible handwriting and sighed. "Sweetheart, we're all worried about Mr. Craig, but that's no reason to dislike Mr. Otis. Give him a chance." Giving his shoulder a squeeze, she clapped her hands together as if signifying some momentous decision. "I'd better get started or dinner will never be ready in time." Vlad stepped back, stunned that his aunt didn't believe him, or even take his concerns seriously. But there was no point in arguing. He'd just have to whittle some hard evidence out of Mr. Otis tonight. Then Nellie and Henry would have to believe him. Vlad touched one of his fangs with the tip of his finger and shivered as the sharp enamel slipped into his skin. He sucked the blood for a moment and shrugged at Nellie's concerned gaze. She was going to go on looking at him like that forever if he didn't say anything to put her fears at rest. He forced a smile. "Want help with dinner?" Vlad helped her pull out bowls and pans, crack open eggs, and drizzle their gooey insides into a big glass bowl. He watched Nellie mush the rice and meat together, his thoughts never far away from that tattoo on Mr. Otis's wrist. It was so like the symbol on the porch. It had to be a curse of some kind, or something used by vampires to identify their kill. Vlad's thoughts turned to the black cylinder and the symbol engraved at the bottom. He wasn't sure how that fit in, but it was clear to Vlad that someone had reached Thomas before Diablo could, and that someone was Mr. Otis. Nellie slid the meatloaf into the oven. She set the timer for an hour, wiped off the counter with a damp rag, and washed her hands. Vlad frowned at the waste of blood as she sopped it up into the dishcloth. He'd been hungrier lately than he usually was, something he attributed to stress, and Nellie attributed to hormones. With a tug, she opened the chest freezer and tossed him another bag of blood before slipping upstairs to change. Vlad bit into the bag, foregoing the microwave, and drank the blood cold, then settled in front of the television. Nothing good was on, but he wasn't in the mood to watch anyway. He was dreading the inevitable arrival of their dinner guest and pondering the possible reasons Mr. Otis would have to kill his favorite teacher. The doorbell rang. Vlad raced to the door. He could see the outline of Mr. Otis standing on the porch, no doubt plotting the demise of an innocent boy and his far too trusting guardian. A hand squeezed his shoulder and he jumped. Nellie wrinkled her forehead. "Let him in, Vladimir. Don't be rude." Vlad swallowed the lump in his throat. He had to think fast. "I think I have the flu. Can't we invite Mr. Otis over some other time?" Nellie touched the back of her hand to his forehead and looked him over before shaking her head. "Vladimir, you do not have the flu. You can't get the flu, remember? You're just nervous.